All right, guys. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. This show is brought to you by my friends at justinform.com, a social media site that doesn't steal your data, doesn't sell you out. Go to justinform.com, become a member. Know the news, not the spin. Tell them that Tim Black sent you. All right, folks. Oh, whoa, we good? Hey, folks, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show Special Edition. No sellouts, because it's Monday, and we're feeling like it's time to really take back our politics, take back our news. So I'd say hello to everybody out there on Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live. Okay, we got a number of stories we want to get to. We got some snow over the weekend, so people are acting crazy in the D.C. metropolitan area. Anybody out there who's struggling in the snow, be safe. It's cold out there and slippery. Now, speaking of slipping, we're going to talk about Rand Paul. Talk about Rand Paul, the libertarian, doing something he said, I guess, that he never saw himself doing. Like he never envisioned himself needing the assistance of. Socialized medicine. We'll talk about that right here on TBTV. Donald Trump's border wall continues, but some of the support for it may be waning. We'll talk about that right here as well. Laura Loomer, I've never discussed her on this show, but we will today because it's going to be fun. An activist a right-wing activist loses her marbles right here on TBTV. What else? Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos makes it into my lineup today. We'll talk about his divorce, kinda, and more importantly, Donald Trump's attack and the reaction of the public right here on TBTV. Also, Kamala Harris. There's been a lot of critiquing of Kamala Harris's record and some pushback about that critiquing. We'll talk about that right here on TBTV. And our main story for tonight is Tulsi Gabbard running for president, and some things have come from her past, and we're going to discuss it right here because we don't run from nothing right here on TBTV. All right, let's go. Yes. Where are we with the people? Where are we with the people? Welcome back to the show, guys. Deep. I want to make sure that my people on YouTube are in the house. Are my YouTube people in the house? Let's see. I got Facebook in the house while we look for YouTube. Yeah, we got Facebook in the house. Valerie, Roseanne Martirama, David Campbell, Olga, Helen Ford, Chris, Dolores. They are here in the house representing. Look like the Stevens in the house. What's up, Steve? Rose Wade, Bibby Bowman's in the house. Bibby Bowman got the new shirt. Shout out to Bibby Bowman. Scott Garris. Oh, man. Look at this link by Scott. Dropping it like it's hot, Scott. Go ahead, Scott. I appreciate you, man. And even in the house, Even Miller, Tommy Zito, Mateo Danini in the house. We got a whole squad right here on Facebook, guys. Whole squad in the house. YouTube side of the game. We got some people on YouTube filing in. Thomas Almy, Frederick Murphy. Truth Can't Be Silenced is in the house. What's up, Truth? Thank you for moderating, my friend. Dave. Hussein Mohammed. Okay. A dingo ate my baby, Julie Love. I don't know how to say that. I don't know if I can. Jim Heldon. Something about Kamala. They talking. Lee Cox. Yeah, try typing in TBTV on YouTube. I just did it, my brother. It got taken me to a toy store. Yeah, someone bit my name, and you know it's crazy because they hadn't been on YouTube that long, but YouTube gave him my ranking. Peter, version 1. It's all good, brother. Thank you for the lookout. Fred Lexo. All right, share, guys. Because we're going to be hard-hitting tonight. We got to be hard-hitting. We can't play around. We cannot play games. All right, so let's jump right into it. Yeah, let's add this. Let's start off with this, guys. All right. So the government shut down. I think I'll jump on the screen for this one. Right, because I know it's tough. Tulsi Gabbard, socializing. Okay. So we're going to start with this because this is important, guys. I don't know what's up with some of the folks acting as if it's not important that we got a government shutdown. I think it's important. Okay, guys, so as you know, we have just set a record with the length of time that the government's been shut down, a la Donald Trump, a la the 116th Congress. It's not a good thing. A lot of records are good, like most yards completed, most NBA championships won, most Grand Slams. Those are all great. Most kids, you kept out of the penitentiary, out of jail. That's tough. Keep them out of jail. Keep them off the stripper pole and keep them out of jail. That's what they used to say. Now you can't say keep them off the stripper pole. That's supposed to be positive now, I guess. I don't know. See, when you're old like me, things have changed. Now it's considered shaming not to want your kids to, put themselves in not to do those types of jobs. I'm telling you, man, it don't make sense, man. This is what it is. And for 2019, I will be pulling no punches, guys. Know that. No punches will be pulled. But I love you, though. Up there on that strip pool. Okay, so Trump's been doubling down on this border wall, even though it appears to some in some of the polls that they are listing. And you really got to take polls with a grain of salt. See the stripper polls? That's where the polls came from. You got to take polls with a grain of salt because you don't know who they asked. They could have asked all people with landlines. What do you think about Trump's border wall idea? I don't know the sample size, okay, but that's what the writing on the wall says. That Trump's wall is not as popular as it once was because too high of a price to pay so far with a record-setting government shutdown of some services, which have taken away certain safety mechanisms like, I don't know, TSA. Remember that? Closed down some government facilities, and also some agencies are crippled, with a quarter of the government being shut down, and most importantly, people not getting their paychecks. No, that's not good. Well, Tim Black, what about all the people who work for the government taking personal responsibility and putting money away because you never know when it's going to be a government shutdown? What about you putting money away because you never know when you're going to get fired? Won't you have like three months worth of salary saved up? I think it's 6 months. That's what they say you should have. Here's what you don't know. America is #1 in debt-to-income ratio. So please stop telling me what poor people need to do with money they don't have. All right? Not because they all buying spinning rims and golf clubs. It's because times are hard. So, President Trump used an address Monday to the American Farm Bureau, I don't know what that is, Farmers Bureau convention to dig on his call for a border wall. Even as new polling indicates most Americans oppose his administration's strategy of obtaining the money for the wall. Speaking in New Orleans, Trump said there was no substitute for a physical barrier along the southern border with Mexico, and accused the Democrats of playing politics and refusing to negotiate on the issue. This is Trump. This is a quote from Trump, allegedly, because I wasn't there. But this is what they say. Because, sometimes they take stuff out of context. So it's tough when you're independent media and you can't send people to locations. Man, we gotta work to have a better, to have better independent media that's funded so that we can have people with boots on the ground. Now, I'm thinking that this article is accurate because it came from Fox News. That's what I think. I'm thinking it's got to be accurate because it's coming from Fox News. Well, if you want to cover something Trump says, I'm like, okay, I got to go to Fox because they're less likely to take his words out of context. All right. Anyways, here's what they said he said. They think if they stop me, it'll be good for 2020, said Trump of the Democratic Congress. We need that barrier. If you don't have that barrier there is nothing you can do. All right, so now here goes the information about the poll. It's a Quinnipiac poll, university poll, released Monday, found that 63% of voters agree with the Democratic proposal to reopen parts of the government that do not involve border security, with 30% opposed. The same poll found 63% also opposed using the shutdown to force wall funding, with only 32% approving. Okay, so now there's a couple things about this we got to consider, right? First of all, being, as I covered in a very extensive video on my YouTube channel, there was absolutely zero evidence. Zero as in none. None as in nada. Nada as in, oh man, I got nothing. There was no evidence that a border wall would stop the flow of human beings, drugs, narcotics, or what have you, over our southern border. People just think it will, but there's no way to know, okay? Because there's no way to compare if we put more people there or if you put a barrier there, what would be more of a deterrent. As it stands, what we do know, guys, regardless of what your politics is that on the southern border where we have walls, certain patches we have walls, also where we have fences, certain places we have fences, and other places we have nothing but rivers and mountains or what have you, like natural, like hard to trespass type areas, that whenever people want to cross, they find ways to cross, whether it be over, sometimes using small aircraft, or just climbing it, or under it, using jackhammers and going under it, or just jumping in the water, swimming around or something. People find ways when people are desperate to do things, okay? Sometimes they just throw the drugs over or shoot it over. Use a slingshot like David and Goliath. They're going to get them drugs over that wall. So that's why I do not agree with the shutdown at all. I don't agree with it because, like I said, we have walls in certain places. Why is that not effective? And there's all these other, $5 billion seems like a lot of money to me to spend on a wall when you already have a wall in some places. So why are you trying to fill in? Won't you fill in spots, man? Like there's spots where there's a wall. Maybe if you said, okay, this part doesn't have a wall, it currently has nothing, we need to put something there, I could kind of understand that. But he's talking about 1,000 miles of wall. That don't sound like a lot of wall to you? Nothing? Okay. Well, if you like Trump or don't like Trump, it's kind of cut on those lines, I think. I think the people that dislike Trump's policy or dislike Trump as an individual, as a president, or as a leader, they ain't going to go for his policies. And especially if they are missing work or missing pay because Donald Trump wants to fight for a border wall. But here goes something I found very interesting today. And let me know what you think about this. That's this tweet here I saw from Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore says, if Trump really wanted a wall, and not just a talking point that gets his base worked up, then why didn't he build the wall when he and Republicans had complete control of government? Jimmy goes on to say, this is Trump playing his base. Not playing to them, but playing them. And they fall for it. Ha! 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 That's how Jimmy and Steph laugh sometimes. Ah! Okay, so that's an honest question. Very valid critique. I'm sure there were those who were pissed off, who didn't want to hear it. They don't want to. Some people don't want to hear anything bad about Trump, and some people can't hear enough bad about Trump. Right? So I'll say this: it's sort of like Obama, like when he had both the House and the Senate, and all he got done was, immigration or gay marriage. Like, what about all that stuff you said you're going to do? Well, listen, we couldn't get to it. We tried. Yeah, I was up against all these Republicans, and I was trying. Tim Black was trying. But stop asking for stuff, because I'm not your president. I'm everybody's president. Can't be worried about black people. But you keep voting for me, though. Keep voting for us. But don't expect me to do nothing for you. That's what all right? All right. That was pretty much it. There you go. There you go. Asking questions instead of leaning in and putting your shoulder against the will of democracy and pushing it forward. Hey man, what you gonna do for black folks? There you go. Being divisive. You need to lean on the wall and push. All right? Lean on the wall. So anyway, I totally get Jimmy's point, is that, yeah, well, Trump had the House and the Senate just like Obama did, and what he get done? Tax breaks for mostly who? Now, don't everybody say it at once. For the upper middle class, of course. Come on, man. And corporations, you goofy people. What Dave Chappelle say? He's not there to help you. He's there to help me. You are poor. He's not fighting for you. He's fighting for me. So anyway, they don't believe that though, because he's a white guy. I don't get it. All right, so I guess I do get it. But I don't get it. Okay, so anyway, I agree with Jimmy Dore that it's a valid question that needs to be answered. If this is what you really wanted, why didn't you try to get it done in the beginning? Like now you're out of power. Now your power split, I should say. Not out of power, but his power was split. We got to admit that. Now, if I could critique Obama for not getting, for not prosecuting Wall Street, I critique Obama for why he didn't get more done for poor folks, poverty. Why didn't he work on more of these issues? Okay, why did he fight for our a public option, which is all we really wanted, a public option within his Obamacare? We didn't get it. I critiqued him for that, but for some reason, Republicans, or I won't say Republicans, Trump supporters are very much fine with Donald Trump not getting the border wall done and not really even bringing it. Like, he didn't even really bring it up. Like, why didn't he get this done back when DACA was on the table? It was like, yo, you remember a few months ago, DACA was on the table? Why didn't he push for this then? All right, so anyway, that's what I think. But I'm sure there's a response to it that worth considering. Now, though I critique Donald Trump for Donald Trump policies, and I'm also not fooled by the nationalism that I hear all these people going, oh, Trump and America and all this. I'm like, okay, simmer down. Let's look at the policies. Let's look at what people are actually doing. Miss me with the whole boom, kumbaya about America. Let's make sure the policies actually help working Americans. I'm not into the victory speeches or whatever y'all doing. But even though I'm critical of these things, I'm also keenly aware that BS that gets shoveled on a daily basis. And what I mean by BS is this. How many people heard about Jeff Bezos? Okay, you know Jeff Bezos. Well, richest man alive, owner of Amazon and the Washington Post, and owned by the CIA. He's got a contract with Amazon. He's got a contract with the Washington Post to do the Amazon cloud to do work for the CIA to house documents. And I never really understood why you would want an independent company to do some work for the CIA. I don't understand that at all. But okay, back to Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos and his wife of 25 years have filed divorce. And I've been reading some information about that, and it's pretty tough because, see, a lot of people don't understand that Jeff Bezos and his wife founded the company together. And until they had kids, up until that point, they were both working in the business, formulating it, back before it was as big a success as it is now. But at some point, she decided to take care of the kids. He decided to work full-time in the business. So business worth multiple billions of dollars is now up for, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, Donald Trump did not miss an opportunity to take a jab at Jeff Bezos. On Twitter. Yeah, he took a shot at Jeff Bezos because there's no love between Trump and Bezos. He has a problem with Jeff Bezos not paying taxes on his internet sales, something like that he brought up. But the point that really stuck, and you know how good Donald Trump is at this stuff, Donald Trump called Jeff Bezos Jeff Bozos. Jeff Bezos became Jeff Bozos, right? Now, this is when you know that you have a country that hates you. You know a country hates you when they root for the oligarch, richest man alive, who won't end world poverty, who won't end homelessness of veterans in the United States, has billions of dollars that he can do so with a blink of an eye and still be, if not the richest man in the world, but next to him, but won't do it, and had to have his arm twisted behind his back to raise the wages of his workers, who complain they work basically in a sweatshop. So then he raised his wages, and then he lowered their incentives so it basically evened out. The same guy, Jeff Bezos, who's, after he acquired the Washington Post in 2013, in 2016, his newspaper, Washington Post, ran 16 hit pieces on Bernie Sanders in 16 hours in 2016 during the election. That same Jeff Bezos, people are supporting Jeff Bezos because they hate Donald Trump. I'm trying to tell you, they support Cruella de Vil, the cruel witch from the Dalmatians, over anyone else because, well, they don't like that guy worse. Trump's worse than Cruella. People, it's a thing. I've seen it. It's a phenomenon. It's strange as hell. Where people, whoever's against Trump, they just root for the person against Trump. You know, anybody. Pedophiles. Oh, well, why is Trump picking on that pedophile? You know, it's like, you know, obviously Trump's the worst in the equation. Arsonist, you know, rapist, it doesn't matter. Axe murderers. Oh, we got to go with the axe murderer guy, you know, because Trump's a horrible individual. He's got little hands. Look at the hair, look at the hair, look at the hair. But that's an axe murderer. Man, but I'm sure you had problems growing up. Whoa, stay over there. Stay over there with the axe. Watch it, buddy. Watch it with the axe. I'm just saying I notice how crazy America is right now. Jeff Bezos is a rich prick, right? Who is a horrible, he's not a good guy. Just ask his wife. Jeff Bezos is not a good guy. Just ask his workers. Jeff Bezos is not a good guy. Just ask anyone with journalistic integrity who still works at the Washington Post. Hey, Dave Weigel, you good. You good. All right. All right, guys. That's enough. Oh, man. All right. All right, so also in amazing news that'll make you go, what the hell's going on? Rand Paul. Yeah, Rand Paul. This I didn't get, but I found it very hilarious. Initially, I was like, what the hell is going on with Rand Paul? So you guys remember Rand Paul got into a fight at his house, and some guy sucker punched him or something like that. Got beat up on his own lawn, and something like that happened to him. I don't know who kicked his ass at his own home. I thought he was a libertarian. Doesn't he own a firearm? This guy beat him up while he was mowing his lawn or something. Yanked him off his John Deere. Proceeded to lay hands on him. Hands and feet. Anyway. Despite all his rhetoric and the applause from his libertarian base, Senator Rand Paul is just another top-down, autocratic, big government Republican. Who wrote that? Why did I read that? Anyway, one of the most vocal libertarians in Congress is reportedly headed to Canada later this year to receive a hernia surgery, a hernia operation. Now, why this is bad is that we all know Canada has basically universal or single-payer health care, right? Provided by the government. Most of the facilities in Canada, most of the hospitals are government paid, right? There are a few, though. There are a few that are not government paid. So the critique is Rand Paul, who has been on the record comparing socialized medicine to slavery. I know you're like, what? Rand Paul compared socialized medicine to slavery. There's a video on YouTube, Bernie Sanders and Rand Paul in this video. It's doing a Senate hearing or whatever, right? And Rand Paul says those words. And I'm like, what? So Rand Paul's thinking is this, and I know it's crazy. He thinks that if you're a doctor and you have to see patients as dictated, like the government sends them to you, that if you have to help those patients, that makes you a slave because you now have to help people who might not have money to pay you, like out of pocket. Even though you would still get paid, like the doctors in Canada don't work for free. They get paid. They just get, like, they don't get to, like, ramp up the cost, like, you know, turn it up, spin the wheel, keep it going. You know, they don't get to crank it up, crank up the volume. They don't get to do that in Canada, but they get paid. Well, anyway, the thing about it is Rand Paul is going to go to Canada to get an operation done he can get done here in the States. Why would you want to go to slaves to get work done? I mean, the hernia is not that dangerous of an operation, but it's, anytime people got to cut you open, that's serious business. Wouldn't you rather stay here in America where, you know, there are no slave doctors? Wouldn't that make more sense? That's what I would think. That's what I think you want to do. I mean, if you thought these people were slaves, tortured slaves who have to work against their will to cure people. So, and also, to be fair, like, Rand Paul's going to pay for a surgery. He's not going to Canada to get free surgery. But he is going to Canada to get surgery. And that's what a hypocrisy is. I never said he wasn't going to pay for it. He's going to pay for his surgery. It's just that he's going to a socialist hospital, like country, to get it done. And that doesn't make sense. Not to me. We got the best health care, right? Come on, Rand, don't we got the best? That's why you fight to keep this crap? Okay. So that's Rand Paul. Rand Paul. Now, moving right along, man. We're really getting it, right? Jeff Bezos, Jeff Bozos. Trump, the wall. What do I got left? Okay. We got this video. Well, let's go to Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris? Okay, Kamala Harris. All right, so as you guys know, Kamala Harris is running for president. She's running for the nomination. Let's say running for president. You know, we need to stop saying people are running for president, okay? Kamala Harris will be running for the nomination in the Democratic Party. That's what she'll be running for, right? And we also know that Tulsi Gabbard is running as well, right? These things are what we know. So now that Kamala Harris has thrown her hat into the ring, of course there are people that are criticizing her. They're looking at her. They're looking at her record. They're being critical. They're looking at her. They're looking at her record. Looking at her. Looking at her record. They're asking questions like, "Hey, when you were the district attorney, California district attorney, why you didn't prosecute this Weasley snake who stole people's homes and had them put out on the street, Steve Mnuchin? Why didn't you do that?" You know, and they're asking questions like, "Hey, Kamala, when you were California Attorney General, why did you make people stay locked up in the federal? Why did you make people stay in prison just so that it would be less of a burden for, I don't know, the prisons, like money wise, like the state? Why did you put money over people's freedom? They qualified to be released, but you were like, hey, it'd be too much to let them go right now because that would be a downturn in our economics." So people have been asking these type of questions because, you know, well, you're running and you want to get the nomination and we think you want to get votes, and those things are kind of, you know, bad. They're not good. So people want to know about them, okay? And there's an article, a great article by Teodros Fikre of the GuianJournal.com. And he alerted me to it. I'm like, wow, that's a good article. It's called "Evoking Muckrackers: Hannah Georgie's Devastating Critique of Senator Kamala Harris." Now, Hannah Georgie's is a writer, and she wrote a piece in The Atlantic, and I encourage you to go check it out. And in her piece, and also in Teodros' piece, they talk about all the misgivings, the missteps of Kamala Harris, and how now she's been repackaged because she put out a memoir, an autobiography. Yeah, an autobiography. And it's full of a lot of platitudes, but it doesn't answer important questions like, hey, cop, why be a cop? And hey, cop, what about all the black and brown people you locked up? Like, it doesn't answer those types of questions. It doesn't answer like, hey, person now who's claiming to carry the lantern of criminal justice reform and civil rights, Black Lives Matter, why weren't you saying that when you were actually a person in charge who could make changes because that's what your job was? A president does a lot of stuff. A district attorney does like very specific things. You know, a California Attorney General does very specific things that directly impact these people that you say you're a champion for. Why don't you have a long list of things that you did that are fantastic for those people? I mean, you know, since now that you're running for the nomination. Hey guys, and I'm not saying that she doesn't have a long list of accolades from her time spent in these positions. All I'm going to say is, where are they? That's all. Okay? Now, this is what we've been seeing too much of. What we've been seeing too much of is stuff like this. This is what we've been seeing too much of. This right here. It's by Tom Watson, a guy on Twitter who I've spoken to once or twice before, always in a way of me questioning what the hell is he talking about. In this particular tweet he sent out, he said, the anti-Kamala Harris campaign by the Sanders-oriented, predominantly white progressive left has started We all knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming. See? So that's what he set out. And see, it's starting already, guys, where any critique of Kamala Harris has these guys running out. Just running out, defending her without answering any of the questions I just posed. Tom is not unique in this, in this action. Others do it too. See, their way to defend Kamala is to say other people are racist when they question Kamala. But no one's questioning if Kamala, where she get her hair did. No one's questioning what kind of hot sauce she has in her purse. No one's questioning, does she like Frankie Beverly and Maze? And if they play that song at the cookout. No, we're questioning her track record. Same thing with Beto O'Rourke. We're questioning her track record, just like we question his track record. And then Tom Watson, who declined my offer to come on my show and explain why is he marginalizing black people on the left who just so happen not to support candidates like Hillary Clinton. He declined to come on because he says that's not what he's doing. But he's definitely weaponizing race in his tweet when he says predominantly white people, Sanders supporters are the ones questioning Kamala, as if black guys like me aren't doing it. And how do you know it's predominantly white guys that are questioning Kamala? Maybe if more black people were aware of what's going on with Kamala, they question her too. Sort of like a couple of people that I've interviewed. One person I interviewed who spent some time in California prisons, who was one of those people that were impacted by the decision-making of Kamala Harris. I think that there's just not enough scrutiny of candidates, whether you black, white, Latino, or what have you. But when those questions arise, respond to those questions with policy points, with actions that have been done, not rhetoric. Actions that they have done, because, see, politicians do things that shut down noise. Politicians have the ability, they have the unique ability, unlike activists, well, activists can too, but politicians to a larger degree, they are people that are in positions where they get to actually do things that prove where they stand and where they do not stand. And my thing is this, back before she was a senator, when she was California's top cop, did she act in a way of someone who was for civil rights and for poor people and black people and poor Latinos and poor white people in California? And I think when you start looking at that, when you start looking at that record and you say, hey, I don't care that she's a black woman, I don't care that she's black, I don't care her father's Jamaican, her mother's from, I don't know, somewhere in India, I don't care. I just want to look at what she did. When you start looking at that, when you forget that she went to Howard, and you ask, why did she send Jamal to jail, right? Why didn't she be as tough as she was on poor people? Why didn't she be that tough on the rich autocrats or plutocrats in California, bastards like Steve Mnuchin? Why was she so feather-handed with Steve Mnuchin and so heavy-handed with Tanisha and Daquan? See, I think it's the opposite, Tom. I think it's really pro-black. I think it's very black to ask these questions. You think it's only white guys who voted for Bernie Sanders that would ask these questions. But there are some black people that would ask these questions, like your man Tim Black, that would ask them and not apologize when they asked them. And that's the reason why I will never get an opportunity to ask them of you or of her. Because you would rather gaslight on Twitter than to actually answer those questions. Because you would have no rebuttal, no retort whatsoever to my question. Because there is no retort. There is no feasible explanation for why you do not prosecute a Steve Mnuchin, but you prosecute the hell out of 18 and 17-year-olds. All right, guys, I got a little pumped up right there. Got a little, I don't know, man, it started getting me upset, more upset as I thought about what he was saying. As if it's only Bernie supporters that, would have issue with this stuff. I got issue with it. Pardon me, guys. Jesus. All right. Can we go on to Tulsi Gabbard? Okay, guys. So as we reported on Freedom Friday last week, we reported that Tulsi Gabbard had announced that she would also be running for the nomination, the Democratic nomination for the presidency. Right? So that's what we talked about. Okay? And we did a Freedom Friday live stream, guys, of that. And I got to tell you guys, I think we did some great work on Friday. A lot of people called in to talk about Tulsi Gabbard and what her announcement meant, what they thought about it, and their feelings about the rest of the Democratic field and 2020 expectations. Now, a funny thing has started to happen. Well, one, we have people now who are comparing Tulsi Gabbard and Kamala Harris. And I think it's really early to do that. It's not that, we're not there yet, but I think it's also natural for people to question, because we have two women of color running for the nomination in the Democratic Party. And I think, hey, I had no problems. Look, I have no problems with people running for office. You know what I feel about Kamala Harris? I think I just made that clear. I do have more favorable opinions of Tulsi Gabbard based on what she stands for and based on the policies that she's helped implement. We talked about her at Standing Rock, fighting for the water protectors there. She not only supported them in word, she actually went to Standing Rock. We talk about her work to end regime change wars. She actually doctored, I don't know the word for it, but she sponsored legislation to end our involvement in regime change wars. So she's been doing things that I find favorable and more helpful, more left, I would say. But there have been some things that people have brought up about Tulsi Gabbard's past, things I wasn't aware of until they brought them up, and I would like to share them with you. Okay. So, let's see. Get me out of here. Okay, so that's the announcement.
When it comes to presidential ambitions. Vision. It appears hindsight can be 2020 when it comes to presidential ambitions.
I have decided to run and will be making a formal announcement within the next week.
Now that Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is under the scrutiny of the national campaign spotlight, her progressive credentials are taking a huge hit, even from a Democrat in her own state.
I'm going to be looking for someone who has a long record of supporting progressive goals and ideals.
It sounds like you don't think Tulsi Gabbard has done that.
Well, I wish her well, though.
In the late 1990s and early 2000s, she was an activist against same-sex marriage, working for her father's organization, which promoted controversial conversion therapy. Gabbard now says she regrets her past positions and that her views on LGBTQ issues have evolved, calling herself a defender of equal rights.
Gabbard's foreign policy views could be another hurdle in the crowded Democratic field. That field now officially includes former HUD Secretary Julian Castro, who made his presidential run official in his hometown of San Antonio on Saturday.
All right. Okay, so, and what I've done is I've taken the opportunity, went to find some documentation about Tulsi Gabbard, what her past is actually, what she did and what she didn't do, and try to get a better understanding of it, because here we try to operate in facts, not just in feelings. Feelings have some play into it, but we have to lead with the facts, and everyone must know what the facts are. So this is an article by rollcall.com, and it states that Tulsi Gabbard regrets past anti-gay activism, and she prepares for a presidential race. It starts off by telling us that Tulsi Gabbard's position on same-sex marriage and LGBT rights have shifted dramatically, from working for her father's anti-gay marriage organization in the early 2000s to joining the Congressional Progressive Caucus as a U.S. House member. The Hawaii Democrat announced Friday that she will seek the Democratic nomination, which we just spoke of. Now, in a statement, Gabbard said this: "First, let me say I regret the positions I took in the past and the things I said. I'm grateful for those in the LGBTQ community who have shared their aloha with me throughout my personal journey." She goes on to also say over her past 6 years in Congress, she's been fortunate to have had the opportunity to help work toward passing legislation that ensures equal rights and protections on LGBTQ issues. She added, listing 6 bills pertaining to gay rights. Much work remains to ensure equality and civil rights protections for LGBTQ Americans, and if elected president, I will continue to fight for equal rights for all. Okay? Now, since we've been here live tonight, one of the persons in my comment section, one of the friends of the show in the comment section, sent me a link, and so I want to try to open that link now to a C-SPAN video of Tulsi making, presumably, the comments I just read, but I really won't know until I open it up, so let's give that a shot. Okay.
I grew up in a kind of conservative household, a multi-ethnic, multi-racial, sure, there's a few things I'd like to mention. First of all, I grew up in a kind of conservative household, a multi-ethnic, multi-racial, multi-faith home. Diverse in our makeup and diverse in our views, and held views growing up that I no longer hold. And throughout my life and throughout my experiences, particularly in the Middle East, during those deployments where both just as an American but also as a woman, I saw firsthand the destructive effect of having governments who act as moral arbiters for their people. And that caused me to really deeply reflect and be introspective on the values and beliefs and that I had grown up with what I was experiencing there, and then coming back and eventually running for office again, and the conflict that I saw there in standing for, believing strongly in, and fighting for these ideals of freedom and liberty that we hold dear in this country, means that equality, that our laws, our government must apply that respect for every single individual, for people who choose to love or marry someone, whether they be of the same gender or not. That respect and that freedom for every woman to be able to make her own choice about her body and her family and her future. So it was a process that I went through that changed my views in many ways, and in many big ways, to the views that I hold today. And for those critics, I asked them to look at my record. I've served in Congress now for 6 years and have a strong record that reflects what I've just shared. I want to bring up the issue of religion because
okay, guys, I think that's it for that clip. I think that's it for that clip. I wanna definitely thank the person who put that into the comment section of I think on Facebook. I want to thank you. I appreciate you for doing that. I think that just reading this article didn't give us the clear context of Tulsi Gabbard's explanation. And I think it's important for people to see that clip. All right, so thank you, my friend. You know who you are on Facebook who did that. I thank you for sharing that with me so I can make my show be a little bit more accurate and be on point. I appreciate you. All right. Anyway, here I go. I was looking to see if I could find him because I'd shout him out. Shout yourself out. Shout yourself out. So if you heard what Tulsi Gabbard had to say, this is all opinions. What's not opinions are what she's done, right? It's not, opinions are how you feel about what she said, and you think that she's sincere or you think she's insincere. But what's not opinion are actions that she has taken since she got in office. Has she, as she stated, been a part of 6 bills that helped strengthen the rights of LGBTQ people? Be a horrible thing to lie about or to fudge, because it's really easy to look up, right? So you look that up and you make a determination from that, because it's not just what someone says, it's about what someone's done, right? So hopefully that's what she's done. I could say, for me, I feel that her explanation did seem sincere, but then I'm not of the LGBTQ community. And if you are of that group, you may feel differently, right? That may be up to you how you feel about her explanation. It should be up to you. It should be up to all of us individually how we feel about her explanation. If you feel that makes sense to you or it doesn't make sense to you. Everyone was raised a certain way. Everybody was raised with certain beliefs. This is the reason why, I've felt, my opinions hasn't changed. My stances haven't changed. I looked at Kevin Hart the same way. And I said, hey, well, if Kevin Hart, said he apologized, and this is 8 years ago, well, that's not who he is now. Why you guys hold him accountable for who he was 8 years ago? If he says he's not that person anymore, he didn't hold those beliefs, not actions. Now, if he was out doing something, or Tulsi was out doing something to harm people, that'd be a different story. But having a thought or having a certain set of beliefs, I think you can change your beliefs and not, hold a person perpetually accountable for their beliefs if they've changed them, and if their actions have shown that they've changed. Not just words, but actions. That's why I say it matters. It would matter to me. But you know what I find funny, though, guys? I find it hilarious that the same people that are bashing Tulsi Gabbard right now, because they think that it was wrong that she was, held these beliefs about LGBTQ as far as gay marriage, conversion therapy. I think that's crazy, by the way. You think put somebody in cold water and change who they're sexually attracted to? I don't think that'll happen. But okay. But so I'm not defending her at all on that. But what I'm saying is I find it funny as hell that the same people who are bashing Tulsi Gabbard bashed me when I was pissed off with Hillary Clinton for being pro-segregation in her early adult life, and she campaigned for and supported a segregationist who was against Martin Luther King. You said I was wrong to harbor resentment about Hillary doing that. You said I was wrong to hold her accountable for the cuts in Medicare that she championed, and she went around the country supporting that BS cuts to welfare that threw people off of benefits under her husband. She was right there. She wasn't like Jackie O or one of those first ladies who laid in the background and just took care of family stuff and then kind of like had a little program. No, Hillary Clinton went on campaign trails with Bill Clinton. She was on the stumping for things like the 3-strike law, for tougher sentencing. But you said it's wrong for me to hold her accountable for that. But you have no problems holding Tulsi Gabbard accountable for her father's organization and statements she made 8 years ago. So I'm consistent. I say hold people accountable if you feel that they haven't changed. But what have they done? What did Hillary Clinton do that could change my opinion? What did she do, physically do, that would change my opinion of her? That she wasn't still basically a racist. Talking about employing black inmates to work in the big house when she was the governor, the wife of Governor Bill Clinton in Arkansas. Sipping lemonade as the darkies worked in the fields to save money. I had a problem with that. Was I wrong to have a problem for that? Was that, you know, to you felt that was irrational to have a problem with the segregationist Hillary Clinton? So I just wonder why people want it both ways. That's all. Why is it both ways? Like you want me to forgive Hillary's BS, but Tulsi Gabbard, you're like, oh, who had no power at all. She wasn't first lady. You know? Anyway. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to how you feel. You know? Like, you get the facts, but at the end of the day, if you feel that Tulsi Gabbard is a fighter for the people, then you'll feel a certain way about her past. If you do not feel that she is a fighter for the people, then you feel another way about it. And I think that's how human nature works. That's how we operate. Okay? I'm just looking at, I'm seeing a lot of people do a lot of, it's like instantly, as soon as she started running, I saw all of these columns. And that's another thing. Those columns that are very critical of Tulsi Gabbard, I don't see those same columns being critical of Kamala Harris for the issues that I just brought up. They're very silent on, they're like within a day, bam, Tulsi Gabbard was everywhere. Look, back in the day, she felt this way about gay marriage. I didn't see those same columns about Kamala Harris and the sentencing in California and the using basically of stripping of people's rights and using slave labor, the equivalent of slave labor in today's terms. Definitely not slavery, but when people work for $1 or 30 cents an hour, yeah, to fight fires, yeah, I got a problem with that. Whether those people, those firefighters liked it or not, those prison firefighters, I have a problem with it. You may be fine with it, because I've had someone who served in those prison fires who said, Tim, shut up, you know what you're talking about. We wanted to get out of our cell, we were happy to do it. I got a feeling if you died doing it, you wouldn't be happy. I'm just taking a guess. So I look for fairness. And it's only fair to hold Kamala Harris to the same level of scrutiny that you're going to hold Tulsi Gabbard to, and vice versa. But like I said, at the end of the day, it also comes down to what you innately feel about a candidate. But aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves? We still don't know who's all that's running. I mean, we got Elizabeth Warren, you got Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Tulsi Gabbard. We got the former HUD secretary, whose name escapes me at the moment. He's running. Deval Patrick there in Boston, in Massachusetts, maybe running, right? It's going to be a crowded field on the Democratic side. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Bernie Sanders may also be throwing his hat in the ring. Would basically be a bull in a china shop with all of this forecasting, right? So we need to just chill. Let's chill. So anyway. So there you have it. We've had the conversation, and I'm sure there'll be more conversations about Tulsi Gabbard's past, as there should be, because she's running for the nomination, and I'm not saying it's wrong, all right? It's not wrong to question. But I'm telling you right now, these people that when you question Kamala or Cory Booker, start going, hey, you're a racist, I'm going to be right there to combat that type of nonsense. I'm going to be right there to combat it. Now, I want to go to something lighter to close this out, but I got to make this comment, guys. I got to make this comment. And we'll take down Miss Gabbard, because this doesn't have anything to do with Miss Gabbard. We'll put back up Miss Kamala, because this has more to do with Kamala. Did I get rid of Kamala? Oh, what the hell? It doesn't matter. We don't need a background for it. Right? Now, this right here needs to be said. I moved to say this. I feel the spirit overcoming me. You know what I mean? Like, I got to speak on this. There's been a lot of conversation about African Americans and Africa Americans. And people from other places, okay? Whether they be from Jamaica, whether they, people who are brown skinned and people who are African American or Black American, people born here. And I know too, a lot of people watching this show right now, because they have a very diverse audience. I know that some people, you're like, I don't get it, Tim Black. I don't understand. I don't. What's the difference? Like, okay, so when you look at somebody, maybe there is no difference. But I've become of the opinion that it matters where people are from and what kind of lives they led. See, I believe that part of our problem when it comes to politicians, when it comes to leadership, is we have people leading us who have no understanding of our lives. We have people who have no understanding of us culturally, who have not experienced our lives, or in fact who have been indoctrinated into a belief about Black folks in this country. And it's not a secret that there are many people from other walks of life who come to America, who happen to have brown skin, who have certain feelings about Black folks. Okay? The reason why I'm bringing this up is I saw some commotion, and I didn't respond to it when I saw it. People were complaining that people were questioning Kamala Harris as a Black woman. And I just want you guys to know, I want everybody to know who's watching, that there is a difference between Ethiopian and born in Washington, D.C., parents from Washington, D.C., and a parent from D.C. and a parent from New York City. There's a difference between Nigerian and somebody born black from here in Alabama. It's crazy that has to be brought up, right? It's crazy that people don't get that. Like, they think that is somehow divisive, when all it's about is your story, right? I'm going to close it like this. Here we go. I do not like nor appreciate people who think just because we are of the same complexion that means we've had the same protection. All right? Or we have the same direction just because we have the same complexion. Point being this. You could be in a situation where you are trapped in an elevator. You can't go anywhere. They're working on the elevator. It's trapped. You were on the elevator with 5 people. You may be on the elevator with this white guy, a Latino guy, an Asian guy, a Native American guy, and a Black-looking guy, and then me. So I'm on the elevator with these other 5 people, right? 5 other people, okay? Can't get off the elevator. I'm trapped on the elevator. Now, we hear them talking. They're saying, hey, it's going to be a while because we got to go get the special part. It's going to be at least a few hours, okay? So that's out the way. We're not going down the elevator. We got enough air in the elevator, but it's going to be a while. So we are forced to talk to one another. We are forced to have conversations with one another. Now, there are some people who would think that just because the black skinny guy who's from Nigeria or Ethiopia, me and him share the same pigmentation, that we're going to have more in common, that we're going to relate to each other more. But if that Latino dude or the Asian dude or the white dude or the Native American or indigenous person, if we start talking and we find out we both like The Walking Dead, and we both grew up blue collar, and maybe we both used to pick up junk off the street, because our mother would stop the car and say, hey, get that. And I get it, and to put it in the back because we need to take it home and clean it up and try to sell it to make the rent, because that's what we did. And we both share that history. You know, we have more in common than just the fact, I have more in common with that person than I do with the person who just happened to have the same skin tone, because we share a history of an experience in life. But if you were raised in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and you had a driver and maids and butlers in private schools, and your parents taught you, don't you associate with them blacks when you get over to America. They are kata. Right? If that's your experience, then just the fact that you are brown skinned does not make you more relatable to me or I to you. And the fact that we have to have that conversation, and there are people getting upset because that is a reality, is beyond me. That don't make no damn sense. Poor people understand poor people problems. People who have had to struggle understand struggle. Right? The United States of Jones, what's it? The Free State of Jones? One of them shows. Showed how the black former slaves and the poor white people like band together and fought these bastards based on a true story. What I'm saying is that matters, guys. Our experiences, they trump. Can't even use that word without thinking something. But our experiences, our shared past histories, things that we relate to one another, that trumps color. All day. 7 days a week. Twice on Sundays. All right? So that's my opinion on it, and I just want to put that out there. Because some people think we're talking about color. We ain't talking about color. We're talking about experiences and life experiences. Okay? So, last thing, guys, and this is it's not heavy, but I got to share this. This is funny. All right. Laura Loomer is a right-wing activist. And I don't want to call her that. It's just that I don't really know her that well. Okay, I know she's a young lady who has led. She'd be at certain places with an iPhone or an Android phone, and she'd be like putting her phone in people's face, like, "Hey, talk to me, answer my question." Okay, and that she has been on some shows like Fox and very pro-Israel or something like that. Okay, that's all I really know about her. Till I saw her like question Michael Avignati, the lawyer for Stormy Daniels. She was doing that. Put the thing in the face. Hey, answer question. Okay, so, well, then she did something where she chained herself to the door of Google or something like that. Protesting Twitter, that's what it was. She chained herself to the Twitter headquarters door because they took away her blue check mark, or they made her leave Twitter, like they kicked her off Twitter or something. Yeah. So she's at the corporate headquarters chaining herself, and they was like, you know what, just stay there. That's cool. Just fine. Just guess you're gonna be chained on the door because we're not gonna let you back on Twitter just because you chained to the door. So now she did something else. Now I had enough of her then, right? Because she started to look to me like someone who just likes going around doing things like pranks. You know, like she likes pranking people in order to get attention. And of course, it trends on Twitter because For some reason, the right really supports the right. I mean, they really know how to support the right. They will dig in and support the right. So, all right, the right supports the right. All right? All right. So what she did today was even worse. Because, you know, I joked about the Twitter thing, but this didn't make sense. To show her support for Donald Trump's border wall, her and other activists climbed Nancy Pelosi's fence at her home. Look, right-wing activists stormed the security wall surrounding Nancy Pelosi's California mansion and demanded access into the building. Woo! Okay. All right. That's funny, y'all. That's funny. She said, oh, so you get why she did it, right? Do we need to read more? The group was led by Laura Loomer, an activist who has been at the center of many stunts, including interrupting congressional hearings and chaining herself to the doors of Twitter. See, I was right. I was right. My memory is still active. I'm functional. So Laura's point is that, oh, you don't want to give $5 billion for a border wall. Oh, but you don't want people just coming in your house. Come on, man. For real, that's what we're doing. If someone thinks that $5 billion for a border wall, like I stated in the beginning, guys, who we have no proof will even be effective, when illegal immigration is even down, there's a lot of factors to this stuff. That means that they don't have a problem with people coming in their house, their personal dwelling, because they don't want to give up that $5 billion. I don't know, man. I just find these people hilarious, man. Like, there's a false equivalency like hell. You're talking about your home. You're talking about a wall in the middle of a desert somewhere. You know? I will hand it to Laura for commitment to stupidity. She committed, man. And she may need to be committed too. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying she does. She can be perfectly sound. In my opinion, she may need to be committed, but she is very committed. She climbed people's fence at their house. I heard that she even walked up to the door to see if the door was unlocked. See, now, if somebody with Nancy Pelosi's house would have came out and started bucking, pap, 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 pap. See? You on private property. There's different rules and laws. There are different laws in America, and people break into your home. Laura, you have to know that. You have to know there's a difference between somebody trying to climb a wall and somebody coming to someone's home, or you going to someone's personal property. Personal property and the border wall are two different things. You can't climb someone's wall at their home and say, I want sanctuary inside your house. Why do these people on the right think it's the same thing? And why do other people on the right go, hey, I don't see no difference at all? See no difference at all between your personal home that you paid for and a country with a Statue of Liberty that says, bring me your sheltered masses, your huddled masses seeking refuge. I don't have no statue like that in front of my house. And this is coming from somebody who is not a proponent of Nancy Pelosi. I'm not. That's another thing they try to do. When anytime you call out nonsense, then all of a sudden they say you on that team. You know, they forget you called out Nancy Pelosi, got videos calling out. They just say, oh, you support Nancy Pelosi. I don't support any one person more than I support the truth. Laura Loomer is a lunatic. Laura, the lunatic Loomer. People that support nonsense like these stunts, that think they are effective, are supporting stupidity, right? Let Laura, go to, I don't know, someplace not gentrified. Go here, you know what? Forget all that. Go to Berry Farms in D.C., Laura, and show those people in Berry Farms in D.C. that what you think about the border wall and try to get in their house. See, it's sort of like a project section that has a little wall. I'm sure you can scale that wall, But let me tell you something. It ain't going to end like Nancy Pelosi where you get to make news coverage and people go, "Ooh," you know, and you start trending on Twitter. I mean, you may trend on Twitter, but it may not be for a good reason because they don't play. And I'm saying it's like these stunts need to end. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Cut the stunts out. All right, guys, that's all I got. Now, I want to announce now so people know. On Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be debuting a new segment on this show. It will be a new show. Thursdays will be Tim Black Show. I'm sorry, guys. No, actually, on Thursdays it's called Chopping It Up with Tim Black. Can we try that again, guys? I still had Laura on the mind, okay? Be here Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the debut of my new show, Chopping It Up with Tim Black. Chopping It Up with Tim Black is a show segment where I have multiple guests and we talk about multiple issues. All right? It's going to be fire. All right? So we're going to have different types of guests. Sometimes it'll be politicians. Sometimes it'll be journalists. Sometimes it'll be a mix of those things. It may be celebrities. It may be activists. It may be candidates. We're going to have a mix of guests. Okay? So this week's guest will be everyone's favorite Ohio activist, Portia Bolger. Everyone's favorite progressive candidate of Texas, Sima Hernandez. And everyone's favorite writer extraordinaire and journalist, Teodris Fikre of the Guyane Journal. And I, your host, Tim Black, will be here. So be here Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Chopping It Up with Tim Black, where we will chop it up. Be here. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the battle continues for a revolution that matters. Remember, revolution ain't something that you go to. It's something that you start, and you start it one person at a time. So let's do that together. And also, become a member of my Wolf Pack. You do it. Why? You join Tim Black's Wolf Pack because you believe that media is the real fight. Media controls the minds of the masses, and if we want to make change, and we want that revolution, if we want to see any type of movement towards policies we want, we got to change what people think, and you change what people think by changing what they consume. That's why you support independent media, like the Tim Black Show right here. Tim's Take Live on Patreon, or join me right here on YouTube. I love you. I see you on the next one. Until then, peace.